right now, right now, right now, right now.
Right now, 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 right now. Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been bigger.
Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin. And in today's episode, Bitcoin has fallen $3,000 in just the last week, despite the fact that Jerome Powell teased that we were going to be having a rate pause next month if everything lines up. But also, we saw only a 0.1% drop on CPI yesterday, which basically blew up our CPI cycles theory because Bitcoin did not rally when that CPI data came out. In fact, it actually dropped. And so far, Bitcoin has dropped out of a symmetrical triangle pattern and is at risk of breaking the final uptrending level of support that is holding it in its place right now. That uptrending level of support sitting right around $26,900 to $27,100. Bitcoin is in a very precarious situation right now, and it could be that a longer-term regular head and shoulders pattern is playing out that could drive Bitcoin all the way back down to $25,236, and with no major bullish news on the horizon for the next month, and the fact that CPI coming out on June 13th very well might be a sideways or an increase in CPI inflation data, and considering that inflation only dropped by 0.1%, we might not see a rate pause coming June 14th as we hoped. The question of whether or not June is going to be a very bullish month for Bitcoin now has an even larger question mark attached to it. I'm very excited for today's episode of Coffee and Crypto because we're going to need to do some in-depth technical analysis on Bitcoin's chart. We're also going to be talking about where Bitcoin is going as a result of some of the fundamental factors that are impacting its price action over the last week or two. So, you also want to give a big shout out to everybody who watched yesterday's video. I titled it 4 Bitcoin Investing Mistakes That Are Making You Poor. These are some big no-nos that you are doing that are ruining your chances of becoming financially sovereign. That's not the normal kind of content we make here. We're normally making Bitcoin content. We're normally making cryptocurrency content. That was a cryptocurrency video, but it's more on the personal finance side. You might be thinking, oh, Jebb, I didn't subscribe for that kind of content. I think you're really going to like it. The people that did watch that video had overwhelmingly positive comments. That video, I think, is really going to help you to understand financial sovereignty. So that is the first of a new series called FinSov Financials, where I'm going to teach you guys about personal finances and making sure that your books are set up, your personal books are set up in a way that you're not over-investing in crypto, you're not under-investing in crypto, you're not investing in a way that is not very conducive to this growth of your net worth. I want to help you guys really get on the track towards financial sovereignty. And to really do that, I have to make more content than just technical analysis. We've got a big vision here, guys. I want to help you guys make a radical change in your financial picture and help you guys to have the financial sovereignty that you so desperately need. So make sure to check out that video. It went out yesterday. I really think it's something that you might be thinking, oh, Jebb, I came here for TA. But if you're here to make a difference in your life financially, you're also going to want to see that video on that type of content. So definitely check it out. Thank you all for tuning in so early. Really excited for today's stream. We've already got over 150 people watching. Sean O'Brien was the first, Queen coming in second, RC Moore in third, then Fino, Ryan Matthew, Dewage? I'm not sure. Said, let's go to 25K. Very possible. Chris SF said, hello, everyone. Sash Yo Nakamo said, hi. It's 420 Wood, said morning everybody. A long-time fan and subscriber to the channel. Xenodermis in chat said, hello, Jebb. You have probably the most interesting name to pronounce in the chat. Now, we get some really odd names in chat, so that's saying something, but I do really enjoy trying to pronounce these different names. Queen is in chat. Moonshine said, if U.S. government will keep selling, we'll go down to 10K. I don't know about that. Chris SF said, right now. Joe Bollier said, good morning, Jebb. Xenodermis said, I got a real good feeling. Grand Roofing Incorporated, good morning, everyone. Tom Carey, right now. Xenodermis, Rock and Metal News. I loved the real life scenarios, Queen said. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that content. Like I said, the dream here of the Crypto Jebb YouTube channel is not just to give you an altcoin that you can pick and you can get rich, because I don't want you to just be gambling on whether or not a certain altcoin is going to pop off because it'll just hit mainstream adoption for some reason. My dream is to teach you sound money, financially sovereign principles that are going to help you to get wealthy and allow you to do that through trading and investing in the cryptocurrency markets. Boom. There you go. There's a mission statement for you. I want you guys to be financially sovereign, and Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is a big part of that, but it's not the only part of that. If you invest in Bitcoin and crypto thinking you're going to get rich and you skip budgeting and you're spending $3,000 a month on going out to the range, firing 357 down range, or you're spending $2,000 a month on Starbucks and you make $6,000 a month, you're going to go broke. You can invest in crypto all you want, but also, if you're investing in the wrong cryptos, you're going to go broke. I don't want you to go broke. I want to make a difference in your life. Guys, I've had so many inspiring stories that just really get me excited about the life-changing decisions that you guys have been able to make in your own life where you invested in this cryptocurrency, you learned technical analysis. But the dream is not just, excuse me, sorry. The dream is not just to teach you guys how to be great technical analysts. The dream is to teach you guys how to radically change your personal financial picture, and cryptocurrency is a big, big part of that. But I want to see you guys becoming financially sovereign, making sure that you are not serving your money, because if you are serving your money, I'm here to tell you a couple of things. Number one, if you're married, your marriage is going to suffer. Number two, if you're a Christian, your walk with God is going to suffer. You know why? Well, Matthew 6:24 says, no man can serve two masters, for either he will despise the one and love the other, or else you will hold to the one and despise the other, or hate the one and then despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. If you're a Christian, you can't serve your money and serve God at the same time. If you're married, you cannot be worrying about your money and be having a good marriage. If you're a parent, you cannot be stressing out about your finances and be a good parent at the same time, because you can't serve two masters. When you are serving your money and worrying about your money is a form of serving your money, you will not be successful in all of the things that you are called to do and that you are trying to do and you are purposed to do and destined to do in your life. And that's why I want to help you make a change in that. All right. Let's go ahead and jump on to CoinMarketCap. Really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Cryptocurrency's market capitalization sitting at $1.125 trillion, $1.129 trillion, according to CoinMarketCap. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $27,186. It is down 3.76% over the last 24 hours. Ethereum sitting at $1,800, down 4.24% over the last 24 hours. On the 7-day, both of them are down by 5.5% and 4.5% respectively. Bitcoin still up 25% over the last 90 days and still up 17% over the last 90 days on ETH. Both of them are up over 50% year to date. That's what I want you guys to be focused on, that these cryptocurrency markets are still doing very, very, very well. Binance sitting at $300. It's been ranging sideways for the last 3 months. XRP's down slightly. Cardano's down slightly. Dogecoin's down slightly. We really kind of got let down by the FOMC meeting followed by the CPI data release. We were hoping that was going to send Bitcoin to the upside in a major way. But unfortunately, what ended up happening instead is that Bitcoin has broken bearish out of this symmetrical triangle pattern that you guys could see in the thumbnail. Bitcoin had built the symmetrical triangle pattern with the rally up to $31,000 and with the bottom here at $27,000. And since we tried to stay in here, we actually broke bearish out of it, moving into Wednesday the 10th, where the CPI data was released. Wednesday the 10th, that was yesterday. CPI data came out. Bitcoin tried to rally briefly, and then it crashed, and then we had a long lower wick, indicating a ton of indecision, but certainly not indicating bullishness. And today, the candlestick is red so far. In the last 5 days, Bitcoin has dropped in grand total about $2,900, and from red open on Saturday, May the 6th to where we are right now, Bitcoin is currently down $2,300 in the span of 5 days. This is not something that we want to see post CPI data release. The only thing this can remind me of is the CPI data release that came out on Valentine's Day of this year, where we saw Bitcoin rally very briefly. It only rallied for literally 2 days. It rallied $3,000, and then it went through a major correction. The tricky thing is here, Bitcoin didn't really rally at all. Both of those were 0.1% CPI data drops in February on Valentine's Day. It was 0.1% drop. We saw Bitcoin rally here after that CPI data came out by only $600. $600 is not a very big rally on Bitcoin. That's a 2% rally on Bitcoin. A lot of times we'll get a 20% rally on Bitcoin when CPI data releases, so that is definitely a disappointment. Now, if you read the description, then you'll know that there are a couple of different levels of support that Bitcoin is attempting to hold, and if it fails to hold those, then that is going to be a very, very, very bad situation for Bitcoin. Maybe I shouldn't say bad. It's not a moral standard, but it will definitely be a very bearish situation for Bitcoin. Looking here on the 4-hourly chart, you can see that there's a very certain level of support sitting at $27,000. You can see it right here. $27,000 represents the baseline of support that we've been establishing here for the last 2.5 months, ever since we've got up here following a CPI data release that saw a 0.4% drop in inflation back on March the 12th. Sorry, on March the 13th. When that CPI data released, Bitcoin rocketed above $27,000 in one of the largest rallies that Bitcoin has seen in many, many months. In fact, in just over the last couple of years. Right now, though, Bitcoin has shown us that it's had a very difficult time getting far above $27,000 because Bitcoin rallied so far above it so quickly. I think part of the reason for that is because Bitcoin is generally following this uptrending level of support right here to the upside, and because this uptrending level of support is sitting right here, Bitcoin got so far away from it so quickly that Bitcoin either needed to go through a major correction down to 22, or Bitcoin needed to trade sideways so that the market could catch up with this general uptrending level of support. Notice this uptrending level of support was breached very strongly when that CPI data came in, so it was much easier for Bitcoin to go through a massive rally when CPI data came in. One, because it was already in part of the rally, but two, because Bitcoin started the rally from such an overextended perspective. We saw a $10,000 gain in the span of less than 2 weeks. That's not what's happening right now because Bitcoin is so far above this middle line of the market. If we were to look at a Bitcoin bull market as an Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern, I will show you an example of what I'm talking about over here. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern, something like this, then we would say that this uptrending level of support right here represents the general center line of that first wave. And in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern on Elliott wave, you have 3 impulse waves, then you have 2 corrective waves. And whenever Bitcoin is in that first impulse wave, there's generally going to be a trend line that more or less defines it. If you remember back to 8th grade math class, this is generally called the line of best fit. So the line of best fit for Bitcoin right here is the uptrend that you can see in this place right here. Bitcoin is attempting to hold this uptrending level of support right now, but we have a lot of reason to believe that it won't. At the same time that Bitcoin is probably going to fail holding this uptrending level of support, it's also likely going to fail holding $27,000, which means that if we don't have some kind of bullish catalyst come in, 25,236 is the next major level that we're looking at. 25,236 comes into play because of this local top right here and this local top right here. The transitionary zone for Bitcoin sits between 25,236 and 28,545. We can just go ahead and draw 28,545 right here. You can see I'm kind of rebuilding the chart here. But the real transitionary zone that this market currently is establishing is actually more like a transitionary zone between 25,236, those 2 local tops set on August the 13th and about Valentine's Day of this year, and then that zone at 27,000. If we look at the VPVR, it's going to show up very clearly why that's the case. Looking at the VRVP, I should say, it's the VRVP. Looking at the VRVP, then we're going to find that there is a major major drop in the VRVP, as you can see right here. There is almost no trading in this zone because Bitcoin shot through that zone so rapidly. It is possible, therefore, that because we're having bearish action going on right now, that Bitcoin is going to need to break down below $27,000, fill up the VRVP here so that we have more established support, and then go through a rally. That would do 2 things. Number one, it would allow Bitcoin to come to the bottom side of this uptrending level of support, meaning that we'd be in a much more conducive place for a bullish setup. We were having to go through CPI data releases when we were right here and right here, very far above that uptrending level of support because we kind of just ate all the gains all at once back over here in March of 2023. What the Bitcoin market is struggling with right now is that it's already so high, and so the CPI is coming out, and it's a very small CPI number, but Bitcoin's already so high that it's having trouble just going parabolic because there's just not that much exuberance in the market yet. There probably will be in the next 12 to 18 months, but there just likely won't be that much exuberance in the market for some time. What may be best for Bitcoin is, one, it breaks below this uptrending level of support, but two, it actually manages to fill this zone in this area between 25,236 and 27,000 so that we have a more established VRVP zone over the last year or so that Bitcoin can use that as a foundation to build an even larger market. Zooming out here over the last, all of history, you can see there is a huge amount of trading in basically every single range going from $15,000 to $65,000 except this range right here. It is therefore very possible that Bitcoin is going to need to fall back down and fill that zone before Bitcoin is going to be able to go any higher. What I'm saying is that 25,236 at this point, because we have not seen a huge amount of bullishness as a result of that CPI data dropping, Bitcoin probably will need to go back down to 25,236. There's a couple of things I want to mention here. First and foremost, if you're trying to learn about how to do the technical analysis I'm showing you, I would definitely encourage you to go and sign up for Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, because over here I've got over 60 videos where I'm going to teach you everything that you need to know about technical analysis. VPVR, VRVP, however you want to say it. What we were just looking at, that's video number 38. When we're looking at our trend lines, when we're looking at our patterns are number 15. Up here, when we're looking at all of the different confirmations that we're going to need to see. I'm going to look at a confirmation here in just a second for what would confirm that we're going to break down to 25,236. Confirmations are video number 7. You guys need to learn technical analysis if you want to be a trader. Full stop. You can kind of be an investor without technical analysis. I don't think that's a good or wise idea, but you can kind of swing it. If you're a trader, you must have technical analysis because you have to spot the levels that you enter the trade in and the levels that you exit the trade at. If you don't do that, then you're not going to know where, how, and why to set up your trades. So if you're a trader in the cryptocurrency space, make sure to sign up for Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis with the link in the description box down below. You can go to cryptojebb.com and find Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis over there. And you can also go to bitcoinacademy.teachable.com. That is, you will find that on cryptojebb.com to sign up for Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. Now, with all that said, let's jump back on the chart. I want to talk about the confirmations that we may see to drop Bitcoin below $27,000 and what that would mean for Bitcoin, and also how you could potentially trade this. Hint, hint, it would obviously need to be a short trade. First things first, I want to look at one of our favorite technical indicators here on the channel that we talk about all the time. It's none other than Lux Algo. If you guys don't know, I am a huge fan of Lux Algo, and the reason I'm a huge fan of Lux Algo are because of all of the amazing signals that it gives. I made a video on the channel a couple of months back where I showed how there were 9 buy signals on the weekly chart for Lux Algo, and every single one of them led to at least a 40% uptrend on Bitcoin, if not more like, on average, a 500% uptrend on Bitcoin. And just so you know, we have seen that confirmed buy signal come into play on the weekly chart right now. The buy signal came in January 9th. Trend catcher turned green March 6th. Lux Algo is doing a wonderful job, and you can see when it put the take profit right here, it gives you a take profit zone between $28,000 and $35,000. We hit right there in the dead smack middle of it. Lux Algo called this nigh perfectly. If you were using Lux Algo, this would have given you a huge and just amazing entry setup for a weekly chart trade. If you're a trader in technical analysis, if you're a trader, an analyst, or an investor, you absolutely need to have Lux Algo. All right, looking on the 4-hourly chart, the reason that I brought up Lux Algo is I wanted to mention that we were looking at these buy and sell signals just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. The market was getting a little bit confused here because of what we were seeing happen on the 4-hourly chart, but because the market had been moving back and forth, Lux Algo wasn't able to give you a really solid decision because Lux Algo is a trend. It's a trend indicator. It tells you when a trend changed. So if the trend isn't changing and it's just moving sideways, then that's an area where you're going to run into some difficulty. That being said, Bitcoin was able to go through a major correction, and Lux Algo called that. You can see right as it was breaking out, Lux Algo gave a strong sell signal. The sell signal began right here, and then it was confirmed right here by its own indicator and became a strong sell signal. Right over here, it turned red. From that point in time, after Lux Algo confirmed that sell signal right here, Bitcoin has still dropped another $722. Now, if you were to look at this and say, normally I'd use trend catcher as my confirmation, but in this case, we're breaking below this huge uptrending level of support. I'm going to use that as my confirmation. If you had followed some, you know, not basic, a little bit more advanced technical analysis, and not just, excuse me, and not just blindly follow the model of the sell signal combined with the trend catcher turning red, then you would say, okay, the sell signal came in and we just broke critical support. I'm going to use that as my confirmation, which means you would have entered into a sell trade right here, a short trade at 28.5. Especially considering at the same time we were breaking below 28,545. You can see that level right. Let me just draw it right here. So Bitcoin was not only breaking below this uptrending level of support right here, it was also breaking below this flat level of support at 28.5. And we saw the trend catcher and we saw the red Lux Algo signal. Let me just turn off part of Lux Algo here so that you can see a little bit more clearly. Just turn off some of this. Might be a little bit easier to see. You can see the Lux Algo sell signal came into play right here, right as we broke below this uptrending level of support, right as we broke this flat level of support. Then we saw the trend catcher come in a little bit later, but you wouldn't have needed to wait for the trend catcher. You could have entered the short trade right here. That's a negative 4.3% movement to where we are now. And if you were on leverage, 10x leverage, that would have been 40%. If you're on 5x leverage, it would have been 20%. Now, please, guys, do not go using leverage if you don't know what you're doing. But I know there are some of you guys that like to fiddle with it. So I like to kind of throw that in there sometimes. It's not a bad thing inherently to use leverage. You do just need to be careful. I mean, if you're a homeowner and you put 20% down on your house, you just bought your house with 5x leverage. So if you're a homeowner and you have a mortgage, don't complain to people for using leverage. Just make sure you're being responsible with it. All right. Now, the reason that I bring up Lux Algo here is because Lux Algo confirmed this sell signal right here when Bitcoin broke below an uptrending level of support and a flat level of support as well. Bitcoin's in the exact same boat right now. It's coming down to an uptrending level of support and a flat level of support. And if we see Lux Algo is red, which is probably going to be, and we start breaking below these levels, then we just need to look for a couple of confirmations. Trend catcher's already red, sell signal's already in place. So what we can see from this is that if Bitcoin does break below the flat level of support at $27,000 and below this uptrending level of support right here, that's sitting between 26.6 and 27.6, over the next few days. And also, if we see the take profit boxes move down, then that's basically Lux Algo's way of showing you, hey, there's about to be a major break to the downside. You're going to want to go ahead and trade that. So if you are a trader and you're looking for a short trade, here's how you would do it. You would wait, and forgive me, my mouse is getting me a little bit in trouble, so I'm using my trackpad and my mouse here. When you are trying to enter in a trade here, you would likely want to open the trade probably around $26,850. You would likely want a very conservative stop loss because Bitcoin has already dropped quite a bit. I would probably put that stop loss no greater than 1%. That's just a general rule. I like to keep the stop loss less than 1%. And then the take profit on that would likely be a laddering out. I love to ladder out of trades. I don't like the idea of just exiting a trade fully because sometimes you're going to exit too early, sometimes you're going to exit too late. Or you won't get to exit is what I mean. But what you'll do is you can set your take profit down here at like your target down here at like 25.5. I wouldn't set it at 25,236 because if you set it at 25,236, Bitcoin does this thing all the time where it comes down to a level of support, but it actually hovers above it just a couple of feet off the ground, if you will. Just barely touches it. Sometimes doesn't even quite touch it. We saw something similar happen when we were coming up to 25,236. We barely got up there for like 2 seconds. So we were actually hitting resistance at 25,000 when the real resistance was at 25,236. So it might be possible that your trade won't fill if you set it at exactly 25,236. What you should do instead, set your exit at like 25.5 just to make sure that the exchange is able to fulfill that trade, or that if you're doing it manually for some reason, then you're able to fulfill it yourself and you have time to do it while you're watching the market. This is absolutely a position where a short trade is in order. I do think that if Bitcoin breaks below this uptrending level of support and this flat level of support, 25,236 now looks to be more in the cards than it has been in quite some time. So what does that mean for the rest of the cryptocurrency market now that you know how to trade it? Well, quite simply, I believe that Bitcoin's going to do very well this year. I think that Bitcoin will end this year somewhere pushing $40,000. But I think that that is going to require a certain shift in the way that this cryptocurrency market is functioning. Right now, the market is mostly being driven, when it's being driven to the upside, by CPI data releases and by a little bit of hype with the banking sector being in trouble. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency needs to start rallying of its own steam. It needs to start rallying because people are interested in the projects. It needs to start rallying because people are interested in the DEXs, because people are interested in trading it, because people are interested in investing in Bitcoin. That's what it's going to take to go to the next bull market. And just so you know, we're probably not going to see a bull market where Bitcoin goes to $180,000 or $200,000 in the next 2 years. We're just not in that environment right now. The global economy is in shambles following the pandemic and following the Russian-Ukrainian war and following the cleanup that central banks around the world are trying to do on the pandemic inflation that has caused. You know, we're looking at inflation that's being driven by the huge amount of quantitative easing that we saw, the doubling of the balance sheet in the United States, $4.2 trillion to $8.9 trillion. And we're also looking at inflation that's being driven by the rebasing of industry all around the world. The entire global economy is still reeling from that inflation, but it's also reeling from huge supply chain disruptions that come from Russia and Ukraine both going offline, and the fear of China going offline, which it kind of is anyway, because it's pushing Western business out. But at the same time, the concern that China could launch the biggest war since the Second World War in the South China Sea against Taiwan. If that happens, the Straits of Taiwan get shut down for business. That's like the top 5 most important trade lanes in the entire world. You're talking, other than that, the Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, and the Persian Gulf. That's probably the 4th most important trade lane in the entire world. It goes offline because the United States and China are in a battle right there with carriers, destroyers, and all kinds of cruise missiles and fighter jets over the strait. You can't send trade through there, nor would any prudent businessman send a cargo ship within 1,000 miles of that conflict, because you never know if a nuke's about to go off there. That kind of uncertainty is driving huge amounts of inflation in the global economy. And so that inflation that we're witnessing is getting stickier and stickier. It's getting harder to get under control. The Fed was able to bring inflation down by 0.6, 0.4, 0.3, 0.7%, 1% just by increasing the effective federal funds rate and rolling off some treasuries and mortgage-backed securities. Getting inflation from 5% down to target 2 to 2.5% is going to be a lot harder than getting inflation down from 9.6% down to 5%. You mark my words on that, it's going to be significantly harder, because that inflation down there below 5% is not being driven by the printing of money so much. It is, but that's largely gotten under control and is getting under control. The problem, at least on the last 12 months, of course, the inflation is still there, but CPI is a 12-month moving average. Over the last 12 months, the problem is the inflation that is left is inflation that is coming from the redesigning of the entire global manufacturing industry, which drives all industry, because without manufacturing, you've got no industry anywhere, because last I checked, you kind of have to have tools and factories and vehicles and raw resource inputs that have to be refined to run your industry. So if manufacturing is being upended in a bigger way than has been since the bombings in Europe and in Japan in the Second World War, then the United States government is going to have to find another way to get inflation under control other than raising rates. And we don't know exactly what that'll be. Hopefully that will be some kind of initiative to bring manufacturing back to the American shores. That is something that has been talked about on Capitol Hill. I don't know if there's been a ton of movement there. Definitely don't think there has been. But in theory, if we're able to rebase as much manufacturing back into America as we can, that's going to be a great thing for the next 20 to 30 years. But the rebasing cost of moving $10 trillion worth of manufacturing back to the United States, and all of the construction that's going to cost, all of the capital costs that's going to put on the companies that are moving, and the fact that they can't really acquire debt anywhere near as cheaply as they could 2 years ago to fund those kind of rebasing activities, that is going to drive inflation, because when those companies are having to undergo huge costs to rebuild their industry here instead of in China, and in Mexico instead of in China, then that's going to drive inflation to the end user, to the end consumer, because the commodities that they're taking in and the final products that they're putting out both have to go through inflation, because you're having to rebuild the supply chain that generates those commodities and manufactured products and manufactured goods in the first place. That drives inflation in goods, in the price and costs of goods, because the United States people are the ones that will end up having to pay for that. And by the way, you're not ever going to see those prices go down, because whenever you increase the price of milk or eggs or gasoline, it's not very common that it comes down, because the American populace just gets used to paying the higher price, and the companies, if they are able to get manufacturing costs under control, then they just reap the rewards of the higher profits while inflation catches up, so that they have to increase profits, that they have to increase costs at some point in the future. Why do I mention all of that? First of all, it's important that we have a background understanding of what's going on in the history, in the geopolitics, in the manufacturing sector, because what's driving the inflation, and it's also what's driving the stock market, and therefore the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin is having to figure out how to rally in a market where there's not free money, where there's not a huge amount of surplus. This is a little bit like, we have a daughter who turns 1 month old today at 447. Charity, she, things are really hard for her right now because she's used to being in the womb and all of her needs are met. Everything's perfect. There's this great little incubator called my wife's womb where she can just be really happy and cuddly. And then she comes out here in the world and sometimes she's cold, sometimes she's hungry, sometimes she needs this, sometimes she needs that. She didn't need any of that in the womb. It was perfect. Now she's out here in the world and it's kind of hard and she has to figure out how to grow with all of these new issues like hunger and cold. We try and do our best, but it's real. It's the real world, right? That's kind of what Bitcoin's undergoing. It was in this perfect environment to incubate a brand new industry right up until Christmas of 2019. Pandemic hit. Short term, it was a really bullish thing for Bitcoin because we pumped $5 trillion into mortgages and treasuries and mortgage-backed securities, hugely increased the balance sheet. That led Bitcoin through the roof because capital was so easy to acquire, liquidity was high. It was so easy to invest in Bitcoin and crypto because it was so easy to get money. People were taking out loans that were paying them to borrow the money, and they were using it to buy Bitcoin, and they were making more money. So they were just printing money. That didn't last forever. Year and a half ago, the balance sheet hit its ceiling at $8.9 trillion. And 14 months ago, the effective federal funds rate started hiking. Bitcoin is now no longer in that super easy environment that it was in from 2009 to 2019. It had a full 10 years to incubate, and now it's got to deal with the real world. And Bitcoin is struggling. I think Bitcoin will succeed. I do think Bitcoin will hit a new all-time high, but this bull market is fundamentally different than anything that we've ever seen before in the history of cryptocurrency, because the background, the canvas that Bitcoin is painting this hopeful bull market on is fundamentally different. It is fundamentally a more difficult time, environment, zeitgeist, political reality, whatever you want to call it, for Bitcoin to go through major gains. So with that being said, what does that mean on the short term? In the short term, Bitcoin probably does go through a correction here. It probably does drop below $27,000, and it probably does push down towards 25K. In the medium term, I'm very interested to see how Bitcoin responds June 13th and June 14th when we see a major change on CPI, and then on June 14th when we see the effective federal funds rate come out. Very, very, very curious to see how the Fed is going to approach rates and how the CPI is going to come out to see whether or not we are still seeing a drop in the price of drop in the inflation of the US dollar. So a couple of things here. First and foremost, you saw me use a lot of technical analysis today. If you want to learn how to do technical analysis so that you can predict where these markets are going, so that you can set yourselves up for short trades like I just showed you, then I highly encourage you to sign up for Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. You can use the you can use the link in the description box down below to get access to Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis. If you are a CT2A member or you were in Club DeFi's beta, you can shoot us an email, support@cryptojebb.com, and we've got a coupon code waiting for you because of your kind support of our different projects. Also, if you enjoyed seeing what Lux Algo had to say about all of this, where you can see the sell signal came into play and it basically would have called this downtrend, you could have made a lot of money there. If you're interested in Lux Algo, because Lux Algo called all of this sideways and bearish movement negative $3,000, called it here on April 19th. We've still been following through on that, and the take profit is right down here around $24,000 to $25,000, which is what I'm saying. Then I highly encourage you to sign up for Lux Algo with the link in the description box down below. Here's the deal. Over on Lux Algo, you can use Lux30 for 30% off your first order. But hang on, if you go into our description, you can use coupon code JEBB30, Jebb 30 for 30% off at checkout for every single month. Lux Algo is a subscription. If you use the coupon code on the website, you'll get 30% off the first month. If you use Jebb30, you'll get 30% off every single month of Lux Algo going forward. That's a great deal. That is an awesome deal. You're going to be saving a lot of money that you can then put back into your trading and your investing, and you're going to get access to one of the best technical indicators that I've ever put my hands on. And I've been doing technical analysis here in the cryptocurrency space for nearly 6 years. I'm very, very excited about what Lux Algo has done for me, for my trading, for my investing, for this channel. And I highly encourage you guys to sign up for Lux Algo using the coupon code JEBB30 with the link in the description box down below. All right, we got about 12 minutes here, so let's go ahead and read some chat. Let's see here. Crypto Trucker Mike in chat said, good morning, D-Gens and Crypto Jebb. Good morning to you. Jojo said, hey, good morning, future financially sovereign people of crypto. I love to see it. Mike Lowry in chat said, morning, everyone. Life got in the way and made me late for class. Oh, man, Mike Lowry, I'm gonna need a late pass for you, or you're gonna have to sit in the very front right next to my desk. CBD Suddy said, good morning, Jebb. How's the baby? She's great. She is doing absolutely fantastic. We got a lot of sleep last night. That was good because the last couple of nights before last night have been really, really hard. She's just turned a month old today. She was 4 weeks old 2 days ago. So she's been having difficulty sleeping because she's getting out of that kind of newborn sleepy phase. So we're having to actually kind of teach her how to sleep, because there's something that I didn't realize about babies is that babies don't know how to sleep. Like, you have to teach them how to sleep. It makes sense, but I just, it never kind of hit me that you have to be taught how to sleep. So, we're trying to teach her how to sleep. And that's been a wild ride for sure. Let's see. It looks like trend reversal, head and shoulders. Dawegi? Is it Wegi? Wigi? I don't know. You'll have to tell me how to pronounce it. That is something I wanted to mention. Bitcoin absolutely looks like it's in a head and shoulders pattern. You can see that head and shoulders pattern forming right here. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You can see that this trend line right here would give us a price target at $23,540, which, by the way, would line up almost perfectly with Lux Algo, because that would give us a price target here in the second take profit zone. 25,236 would give us a take profit level here in the second zone. By the way, the other thing to mention here is that if you remove this trend line and we just clean up our chart a little bit so you can see a little bit better, you can see that Bitcoin is actually also in a giant descending triangle pattern. Hopefully you can see that right here. Bitcoin could just stay up here for a while, but it's also very likely, if we don't have a major break above this downtrend, that Bitcoin at some point is going to break below $27,000. That's not the end of the world. Bitcoin trading here in the $20,000 to $27,000 range does prove that Bitcoin's worth a lot more than $15K, which is where we bottomed out. It does show confidence in the market, but I would like to see Bitcoin bounce and hold above 25. If it starts breaking below there, that's not the best bet. We could break down to like 24. But if we do follow through on the price target from the head and shoulders pattern, which would be drawn like this, then that would give us a price target right here at about 23.5, which was our local top that we set here in February. That wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world, because it would be the first major correction on Bitcoin here during its bull market. That'd be a 23% drop. We've seen it drop that hard. We saw a 23% drop back over here. That was $5,600. This, in this case, would be $7,300. Could actually end up being really healthy for the space, and that could end up being a great place to buy Bitcoin down around $23,700. The last 2 weeks have really shown that the major bull cycle that we've been in is probably coming to a short-term conclusion. That doesn't mean the overall trend with an uptrend right here and an uptrend right here is just completely over with, but it does mean that we might need to analyze things from a slightly more bearish perspective over the next couple of weeks. All right, let's see. Queen said, I am here for the education. I appreciate you, Jebb. I appreciate you. Jebb is part of my daily devotions. Well, thank you, Queen. Appreciate that. Smash the like. Love like, tickle like, peoples. Okay, yeah, hit the like button. Let's see if that's a good point. Let's see if we can get up to about 200 likes. And by the way, guys, keep in mind that the thumbnails for Coffee and Crypto have kind of changed a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a thumbnail like that every single day, but if you see a different thumbnail, just look in the top left of the thumbnail to see if the logo's up there. And that's how you'll know that it's us. Crypto Surge said, sorry, Jebb, I'm late. Power surge. That is very ironic. It's funny. Sorry that happened. I hope you didn't. I just realized that a power surge can actually knock out some electronics. Hopefully you didn't lose anything in that power surge. Colin McDonald said, in the crypto space, every chartist gives both up and down models. That's how it's supposed to work. You have to do it. I'm honestly waiting and hoping we crash harder. I need my Ethereum back. One with nature said, I appreciate your TA. You got Nate in all caps, so I'm assuming that your name is Nate. Shout out to you, my friend. I appreciate the TA. I appreciate you. AJ Knight said, I hope everyone has an amazing day filled with many blessings and opportunity. Be safe, everybody. Let's see. I'm always late 15 hours. I have to pick grandchildren up. I'm always late 15 hours? I have to pick up grandchild from school, but we're here, Serge. There you go. FinSov 2025, I will still be standing. Boom. Bitcoin Trini in chat said, what's going on? The real crash will come when the Fed starts cutting interest rates. I don't know if that'll cause a crash in Bitcoin. If anything, I think that would cause a huge rally. Facts set realistic targets for profit leaving moonbags. Yeah, a little bit of a moonbag is not a bad thing. Shadrack Frost in chat said, listening in the background, brother. Thank you. Coleman Cameron said, I finally got notifications, but was sleeping. Always late. Oh, that's okay. Just show up and we will say hello. RL said, congrats, Jebb. Thank you. Wisely T said, why does it feel like TA was wrong recently? It called for uptrends after CPI and Fed meetings, but both didn't play out the way you predicted. Well, the thing you have to keep in mind is that the Fed meeting was always supposed to be a bearish thing, and the CPI data release shows us that we only saw a 0.1% CPI data release. When I said that we were going to have a big uptrend, we were saying that it really needs to have like a 0.1% or bigger, but ideally it needs to have like a 0.2, 0.3, 0.4% drop. I think a big part of what's going on right now is that Bitcoin's correcting back to that major uptrending level of support, and I also think that with that 0.1% drop, that sent this kind of signal to the rest of the market that inflation is about to get a lot stickier. It's going to be a lot harder to get inflation down to 2% than it was to get it down to 5%. And so I think that potentially sent this kind of FUD through the cryptocurrency space that over the next 3 to 6 months, CPI decreases unless they're like 0.2, 0.3, 0.4% are just not going to lead to bullishness the same way that they were leading to bullishness 4 months ago back in January and February. So I think that's where the trickiness comes in, is that the Fed meeting was always going to be a bearish factor because we were going to see a rate hike, and the only bullish thing that came out of that was a tease, a hope, which a lot of people don't even know he did that, but a tease that we might see a pause next month. But then also, when we saw only a 0.1% drop, that kind of, I think, told the market, it told me anyway, that, wait a minute, maybe we won't see a pause next month on June 14th. Maybe we will see another hike because that wasn't a big enough drop to show the Fed that, hey, inflation is under control now. We're really just going to have to wait and see until the 13th and 14th of June. XRP Ally said, morning, Jebb. Good morning to you as well. UK time, 1500 hours. I see. Let's see. PNW Crypto A said, hit that like button, Jebb. Did the rest of the world, EU, China, Japan, start QE printing yet? Yes, they've been printing money right there alongside the United States dollar. Excuse me, sorry about that. Normally I can hold a sneeze in. I wasn't able to that time. All right, guys, any final questions you have for me, go ahead and let me know. We're going to wrap it out here in the next couple of minutes, but I am working on a video for this weekend that I think you guys are going to really like. Honda K4 FJBLGB. Sure. So I like this, Jebb. Glad his last name isn't Bush. I get that a lot. A lot of people say, a lot of people either call me Jebb Bush, which I'm definitely not, or they call me the McCafe from McDonald's because my last name is McAfee. Or they say, hey, aren't you a security software? It's funny because every time somebody asks me, are you affiliated with McAfee Security? I say no, and they're like, I bet that's the first time you've heard that. They always think that they're the first. Like, I remember playing Foursquare in 2nd grade after school, and somebody walked up to me and they said, are you affiliated with the McAfee antivirus? And I'm like, 7. And I know what he's talking about because even at 7, I was a giant nerd. Like, no, that's just my name. Just my name. That guy actually was the first. So kudos to that guy. I forgot who he was. He's one of the counselors at a place called Pepper Gettings. But he thought he was the first. He was the only one that's right. I've gotten that probably 1,000 times. Literally, when we're talking literally, not, figuratively, probably 50 or 100 times over the last 10 years I've gotten that. But nope. You find a use for that long missing Bitcoin sign of yours? I'm thinking about, I'm so tempted. I've got some ideas. I'm not going to give you guys any hints just yet what my plans are with it. Colin McDonald said, support crypto and hit the like. Thank you so much. Yes, hit that like button. Trump will bring the bull market. Maybe. We shall see. We shall see. I'm not commenting on politics yet, but maybe I will one day. Rip John McAfee, CIA got him. The tricky thing, I've met people that knew John McAfee personally, and that was a sus. That was sus. What happened there? I'll leave it at that because we're on YouTube. But that was yeah. Best wishes from Canada. Thank you so much. Well, guys, we are going to go ahead and wrap it out. But like I said, a couple of things to take away from this. Number one, Bitcoin is probably going to go into a season of bearishness as a result of it not rallying because of this CPI data. I do think a drop down to 25,236 at least is now likely. I would definitely be changing my forecast from a rally up to 31 down to a drop down to 25,236. And I do think a short position entering a couple $100 lower than where we are right now is a position that could make some good money. Just scroll back in the video and you can see me outlining that. I also highly encourage you guys to sign up for Lux Algo, because if you're trying to be a trader, then you need to do what we call trend analysis. You need to figure out when a trend is changing. There's a few different kinds of trend change that you can see. You can see the market's trading sideways to dropping. That's a trend change. The market's trading sideways to go up. That's a trend change. The market's going up and then it turns sideways. That's a trend change. The market's going down and then it starts trading sideways. That's a trend change. Market goes up, then goes down. Trend change. Market goes down, and then the market goes up. That's a trend change. There's 6 major types of trend changes. Lux Algo is going to give you information on all of them. And it has an almost impeccable track record if you use it in the way that technical indicator should be, where you're using multiple confirmations. I am such a big fan of Lux Algo, so make sure that you sign up with the coupon code JEB30 for 30% off Lux Algo forever with the link down below. I do just want to go ahead and read chat here for just a second before we wrap it out. Thank you guys so much. Maury is in chat. Let's see. This work stuff made me miss Jebb's show. Oh, man, Lazarus Hands, I'm sorry. Guys, I am going to have to go ahead and wrap it out. I really do appreciate all of you for tuning in. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every... Hang on a second. Let me back up. I'm going to run the outro, but I just want to kind of pour my heart out here for a second. I really appreciate you guys and what you do watching the channel. I also really want you to know that my dream for the YouTube channel is not just to get you rich. My dream is to help you become financially sovereign. I do that by teaching you skill sets like trading and technical analysis and investing and personal finance. But the thing I really want to help you in your life with, and this has been on my heart for 6 years since I started this. November 16, 2017. It'll be 6 years this November 16th. What's been on my heart has been making a difference in my viewers' financial life so that you are no longer a slave to your finances, so you're no longer a servant to your finances, so you're not walking down you're not just walking straight towards a cliff right into bankruptcy because you're taking a second mortgage out on your home and you're buying Dogecoin, or you're spending $3,000 a month on, I don't know, beanbags, and you're running out of money because you just have this really weird hobby of collecting beanbags. Like, so many people have such strange things that they do with their money. We've all done it. We've all done it. When I started making money, you know what mine was? I went to Longhorn Steakhouse 3 days a week, and I wasted so much money on Longhorn Steakhouse. I tell you what, their New York strip is amazing, but that New York strip almost stripped me of all my money, and I am so glad that I have a much better understanding now. That was 4 years ago. Much better understanding now of how to manage my finances so that I'm not putting undue stress and strain on my family. You know, that's not to say that everything's always going to be easy, but what I can tell you is that when you invest in sound money principles, when you invest into profitable trades such as technical analysis, trading, investing, working in crypto, then you can make a difference in your life. And so that's my heart. I want to help you guys achieve that financial sovereignty. And if you're along for that ride, there's a few things you can do. First and foremost, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and tune in daily for Coffee and Crypto, but also sign up for Club DeFi's Principles of Technical Analysis, because that's where you'll really get into the community. That's where you can join the Discord server, you can get in the office hours, you can ask me one-on-one questions every Monday at 8:30 at those office hours. You're going to learn about technical analysis. You'll get access to You'll be in position to get access to other courses that are going to be coming out in the future in Club DeFi. And I'm just really excited for you guys to be able to hit the ground running, learning everything that you need to profit in the next bull market, but also to become financially sovereign today. That's what I want to say before I go. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling. Got a real good feeling.